Hey guys, Ryan here, and in this video I'm going to take you through the process of rolling back your firmware version if you are on a beta release for the Wireless Go 2. Now, of course, anytime you're on a beta program with RØDE, we will always be working on that beta to bring it into a production firmware version. When we do so, what happens is we will have an over-the-air update for RØDE Central, which will prompt you to download the current production firmware and software, and will automatically give you the option of updating your RØDE Central software on the computer and seamlessly update your units. Now, of course, if you want to be able to exit the beta program earlier than that, there's a simple process you can follow to get back onto our production firmware and our production version of RØDE Central, and I'm going to take you through that process for both Mac and PC on this video. Now, first of all, I'll go through the process on a Mac, and then secondly, we'll go through the process on a PC. So I have my Mac here that's running the latest version of RØDE Central Beta, and I also have a Wireless Go 2 set here that's on our beta firmware update. So to be able to roll back, the first thing you'll want to do is go to your applications folder on the Mac, find RØDE Central, and delete the application. So by putting that into the recycle bin and emptying that, you've now uninstalled RØDE Central from your Mac. The next step is to download the current production software for RØDE Central from the RØDE website. So if you head to the RØDE Central download page on the RØDE website, you can choose your operating system, Mac or PC, and it will automatically download the installer package for you. Next, you'll be guided through the process of installing the current version of RØDE Central. And now that you've uninstalled the beta version of RØDE Central and installed the current production version of RØDE Central, it's time to roll back the firmware on your Wireless Go 2 system. Now, this is very easy to do. All you have to do is open up RØDE Central on your computer, and then you can connect your devices to get started. So one thing that is very important is to make sure that you have all transmitters and receivers from your system ready to go. Now, you don't want to be changing the firmware on just one transmitter or just one receiver, for instance. You'll want to take, for a dual system, you'll want to take both transmitters and your receiver, and for a single channel system, your one transmitter and receiver, and change the firmware all at the same time. Having mismatched firmware between a wireless system can create unusual behaviors, so it's always best to avoid. So first of all, I'm going to get my receiver and plug it in to RØDE Central. And as soon as it boots up, I'm going to click on the settings wheel at the top of the screen here, and I'm going to perform a factory reset. Now, performing a factory reset using RØDE Central, the current version of RØDE Central available on the website, means that it will roll back the firmware on your units back to the firmware that is out there as a production firmware version. Now, RØDE Central is going to prompt you to unplug all devices, just in case you had other devices plugged in from RØDE, so that you don't factory reset the wrong device, and then it'll take you through the process of factory resetting that unit. So right here, I'm going to click on this. It's going to erase all content and settings on this unit, so it's always best to back up any recordings directly to your computer before rolling back. So once this firmware update has completed, I'm going to repeat that process for both of my transmitters, and then it's that simple to update the firmware and roll it back to the current production version if you are a user on the beta program. Next, I'm going to connect my first transmitter. Again, once it pops up into RØDE Central, all I need to do is click on the settings wheel and then factory reset. It'll ask me to unplug the device and then connect the unit that I want to factory reset. Again, it's going to prompt me whether I'm sure I want to be able to factory reset. I don't have any recordings on this particular device, so I'm going to say yes, I'm sure. But if you do have recordings, simply drag and drop them into a folder on your computer before you perform the factory reset. So there you have it, guys. If you've got other transmitters, like a 2 transmitter to 1 receiver Wireless Go system, just complete that exact same process for every single unit in your system, and it's that simple to take your wireless system from the beta program back to the current factory release. So that's the process of being able to uninstall RØDE Central, reinstall the current production version, and roll back your firmware on your Wireless Go 2s on a Mac. Now I'm going to show you on a PC, which is a very similar process. So on a PC, the process is very similar. Firstly, you'll want to uninstall the beta version of RØDE Central. To do that, I simply go to Add or Remove Programs. I can now search for RØDE Central. I just click on the 3 dots here and uninstall the program. Once you've uninstalled the beta version of RØDE Central, simply go to the RØDE Central download page on the RØDE website. From here, you can download the latest production version of RØDE Central for your PC. Install the latest RØDE Central for PC, and then what you can do is simply plug in one by one each of your transmitters and your receiver, click on the settings wheel, and follow that same process that we explained earlier for factory resetting each unit. Of course, if you have any trouble at all, you can always reach out to us and we'll be happy to help. As always, happy recording.